what's going on? I am painting my Warcry Terrain here, and you know, I came up with a pretty quick way of painting it. I mean, obviously it's clearly a quick paint job, but it works out pretty good and it doesn't use a lot of colors. So I was going for that kind of a castle gray skull, greenish stone, and I think I pretty much got that achieved. So let me show you how I did this real quick. I used, obviously it's going to be primed black, and I dry brush a layer of this over it, which is Mechanicus Standard Gray. And then I go over that with a layer of Calibite Green, and that is basically the stonework, other than a final highlight, which I was using Reaper Graveyard Bone. I mean, you can use any sort of light gray or white. That's just what I happen to grab. And on the wood, you see the wood here, that is Dryad bark with a highlight dry brush layer of, I think, Dawnstone or something like that. But basically the principle here is you're going to do all of the stone, black, Mechanicus gray, and then the Calibite green, and then all of the wood and the metal grates you're going to do Dryad bark at first. And I got kind of some stuff set up here where I can kind of show you how I did everything. So okay, as for the stone, this is the last piece I've got. And so we're going to get our dry brush. I always tend to have a damp brush, a dry brush. Starts off as a damp brush anyway. Just get a little bit of that. I'm going to go right here to our trusty palette desk. And there's all that. Just like that. And then rip some of that excess off. My fingers are, yeah. And then just take this, circles, little circles. I mean, everything that's basically you're hitting now is basically going to get hit with the Calibite green, and it's going to bring it out a little better against the black. You won't even hardly see this on the next layer, but you kind of got to watch this right here. You see how my paint kind of started kind of foaming. There's just too much water in the brush, but you know, it doesn't really make a big deal. So we're gonna just do this and probably get a little bit more paint. That's getting a little thin. But you see the other side, how it looks now. It's had a few seconds to dry. It's kind of what we're going for there. So, let's just finish this up. Just real rough, not like, you know, nothing too precise. I'm just gonna go ahead and do circular motions on this crap, just kind of, because we're gonna go over that with the Calibite green too. You just want to have something on it. Make sure to hit this in the middle. I mean, I know that you can't buy the Warcry set that this comes in, the original one, but they do sell this terrain. I don't even know what it's called. I'll have to put it in the description of the video or something. But there you go. I mean, hell, I mean, if you wanted to just have like dark stone, I mean, you can probably just go with that, run with it. I mean, it's not terrible. But there you go. Okay. Let's just rinse that off real quick. Normally I just use the same brush, but for time's sake, I'm just gonna get this other brush and dry it off real quick with the light green that is just kind of these lovely quality GW paint pots with their, you know, paint everywhere. Hate those things, but they're alright paints, I guess. A lot of people talk shit about them, but I don't really have a lot of trouble out of them. The pots are messy as fuck, but, you know, whatever. Alright, so then we got our Calibite green, and we just kind of pay a little bit more attention when you're dry brushing this stuff on, because it can get out of hand pretty quickly. But we're just trying to pick up where we left all the gray, and that's really it. We're not trying to go too heavy with this. Not as heavy as we did the last color. I mean, you could. I've painted pretty much the whole set in this color already. I've got to go back and do the metal and the like prison bar grates and stuff like that. In the wood, but that's pretty much it. You know, it doesn't look fantastic from this camera, but it looks pretty good in person. I've seen other guys do a similar tutorial. This kind of color, he was using some kind of ink where he was just dry brushing over it, and then he covered the whole thing in ink, and you know, which was great. I mean, it looked good, but it was just the color was way oversaturated on the stonework. It didn't have any depth. I mean, what this kind of looks like, it just looks like, it kind of looks like black stone. I mean, it was just like, I don't know, a weird kind of glow to it. I mean, which is what I was going for, so I'm pretty happy with it. Alright, so that's basically the stone. After you do this part, make sure you got everything between the doors. Oh no, see, that's those GW pots for you. No problem. We can just brush it in there like that. It's all good. See, can't even tell. All right. So for the last layer of that stuff, we're just gonna go with. I'm gonna use this. I could probably just use gray because I mean at the end of the day, and I'm just gonna dab a little bit here. I'm not gonna dab anything. You know why? Because it's not working for me. So let's get our other brush. It's wet. Yeah, no, my desk is awful. But the only thing I do here is paint and play video games, so it's alright. I could buy probably a palette like a normal human being, but I don't really care that much. Alright, so we've got our white paint loaded here. And we're gonna mix that around. I do clean this off from time to time. I just wipe it up with some, you know, degreaser cleaner or something like that. All right, and then we're just gonna do like straight up, really just straight down. We're just catching the very edges of all of that, just down. No, back up, just straight down. Oh no, that's bad. I'll have to come fix that a little bit. Just down. Brings it a nice little subtle highlight, except for that booger right there, but that's probably me being careless and trying to do things quickly. I can fix that later, no problem. So that's pretty much the stonework. I mean, I did the first 3 pieces of this set. Each one took me about, I don't know, 10 minutes to do the whole thing. Now moving on to the other 2 pieces. The other 2 types of material you're going to be painting with these guys is the wood and the prison bars. So we're gonna get our dryad bark. And we're gonna not use this as a dry brush, but more of a traditional brush. It's a pretty big brush, so we'll be able to get it all. I guess really want to be really careful here on the edge, where the stone meets the wood. We're just gonna cover this real good. Not gonna worry about the underside, just the top. Yeah, just like that. Good enough for me. It's all brown now. And a little bit more of this paint. I do use a palette, just not right now. And we're just gonna do, let's say, this piece. Let's do these two pieces right here. Just be careful. We're probably gonna get some, because I'm trying to be quick about it, but try to get the doors. I mean, honestly, even like if you leave some of that green behind, it's not necessarily a bad thing because it looks like corrosion, and that's cool. But it's all good. So, this is not too precise, but you know, that's what we're going for. See, now those are officially brown. That was dryad bark. Now the only other things we got left to do are the wood and the bars. And the bars are real easy because we're just gonna take this here, Iron Warriors. This is my favorite metallic right now because it's dark. It's not real light. It looks really good on a lot of things. I mean, I use it for all my metals, like on the spear there, that is made with Iron Warriors, and I believe, was it Valor Brown or Mournfang Brown? Mournfang Brown base, and then kind of dry brush Iron Warriors on it. I don't have anything else really to show you out. But anyway, so we'll take Iron Warriors paint, and we will just, again, use my desk, just get the paint even in the brush. And this is really quick. It's just straight up pulling it down, just like that. That's all it takes. And you see the reflection there, but if you're not looking at it directly under the light like that, it looks just like rusted metal. Again here, same thing, just simple brush strokes, straight down. And you're not even worried about where it meets there and trying to get all that looking perfect, because it doesn't matter. Didn't even do the other side, but that's all it is, just whoosh, whoosh, some quick little brush strokes. And you have that. And for the final thing that you could do if you wanted to, is you can take a brush that's just like a little, this was like GW's old dry brushes. They had little bitty things that weren't really good for anything but dry brushing. Sorry, it's a mess. And this color is Burning Orange from Reaper Miniatures. I don't know, it's kind of a, I mean, if you look at it, it's just kind of, it's like, it's really close to like Rise of Rust from GW, but it's just paint, and Reaper paints are a lot thinner than GW paints, they have really good pigment, and they have dropper bottles, and of all the paints that I have, I've never had to replace Reaper paints. So we're gonna go back to our rusted metal doors here, and we're just dab. See if you see somewhere where it's got too much, just do little dabs, little rubs, dabs. Get some more paint on your brush, and that creates the illusion of rust. You can see that further away. I haven't even looked at this stuff yet, but I'm not even looking at the camera. You just go to town with this, as much or as little as you like, and that's your metal. That's it. That's all. And that stuff is done, and it looks pretty good for the effort you're putting in. The last bit is the wood that we also based in dryad bark. We're gonna move over to, you could probably do a couple of layers. I mean, at this stage, you could put any other brown on it. If you wanted to be more traditional wood looking, I would suggest something like Xandri dust, some kind of a lighter tan, but I wanted to go for like antique looking kind of rotting wood, because my aunt had a house when I was a kid, and the whole siding for her house was wood, and eventually over the years it started to rot off, and she kept it on there because she was cool as hell, and she was a gangster, and she liked the way that antiques looked, so she kept that wood on there, and it's still on there to this day. And that house has been there for almost 40 years like that, but it looks good anyway. So we're gonna have our dawn stone, and we're just gonna go just across. I think that's too wet. My brush is too wet. We're just gonna go across and just kind of across the grain, as the grain is running this way on the wood. You can do as little or as much as you like, depending. I'm just trying to get this done, but you know, it brings it out, man. It really brings that wood out. You know, I'm pretty disenfranchised with Games Workshop these days with the constant rule updates, and you know, they're doing a new edition of Warcry. You know, not too thrilled about that. They finally get a complete system, and they decide to kill it and bring in a new system to sell more books, and I really hate that. Warcry is a good system. It doesn't need to be changed, but honestly, here lately I've been looking at one-page rules, because if the rules are going to change 100,000 times in a few-year period, then at least they're free. And it seems like a really simplistic system, something more chill, something that some guy like me would actually like. But anyway, and there's your antique wood. The lighting is not great, but I mean, it looks, that's it. I mean, that's how I'm doing this whole set. You can't see my desk, but I've got it all over the place. I mean, I'm just about done. Then the end result is going to look something like this. You know, try to concentrate more when you're dry brushing. Try to concentrate more toward the top, and that'll give you more of a illusion of light. And this is the end result. Everything else is, other than like one other piece that I have here, is just has the stone done, and I've got to go back and do metal and wood on all of them, and then they'll be done. And honestly, I mean, I could see you doing, you know, a whole box of this terrain set, whatever it is that's being sold right now. I can see you doing the whole box in under an hour, just showing you how just doing how I just showed you, you know what I mean? So anyway, that's it, man. That's all I had for you guys. Haven't done anything in a while because, you know, fucking real life, man. All right. See you guys next time.